Hello and welcome to the fifth edition of our webinar series Starstruck. I am your host Sharda, head of the NRI business with HSBC in India, and I'm delighted to have with us today Tara Sharma, actor, model, and creator of the very popular The Tara Sharma Show, but above all, a mom. Uh, Before I begin my conversation with Tara, I'd like to tell our viewers that at the bottom of your screens, you can post a question on the post a question/request box, and I will post them to Tara on your behalf. You can also share your love for HSBC and Tara through the chat box. Tara, welcome on our show, and it's a pleasure to have you with us today.
Thank you so much. It's really a pleasure to be here. And thank you all who are watching. We can't see you. And usually, when it's a live chat, you can see the audience. So, sending lots of virtual hellos. And thank you for having me.
I'm sure they'll be happy to see you, Tara. So, Tara, let's begin in your very own words. Let's start at the beginning, right? School topper, London School of Economics graduate, moving on to working with Citibank, consulting with Accenture, to an actor and model. How did the transition happen?
Wow, you've done your homework. so, firstly, thank you. That all is very flattering, and believe me, the topper part of me, I think, left with school. But yeah, basically, as a kid, I was always quite. I wouldn't say nerdy, but yeah, I was quite academic and I guess quite a competitive child, and I enjoyed lots of things from studying to sport to everything. And so I loved my school, the Bombay International School, and I was very grateful. I was quite a magu. I would be that, lock myself in the room and study type. So having said that, I don't think I was that smart. I think there were many, many, many people, most people much smarter than me, but I think the hard work is what I got the grades on. I'm not trying to be over modest, but I think that's how it went. So I did get the highest in the school in the ICSE, 93%, which at that time
Wow,
was a big deal. Now I don't. Now I think people get like almost 100, and it's
100.
not such a big thing. So I mean, of course, it's still a big deal, but whatever. And then I actually was very. I got a scholarship to the United World College of the Adriatic in Italy,
Italy.
and I must say here, and I think my mom is watching from a different device here somewhere. I'm very grateful to my parents for encouraging me to go, because I was very much a Bombay homebody and I didn't really want to go. But I knew deep down that the experience and the opportunity was too great to not take. And it was a scholarship with UWC is a schools for the 11th and 12th, the IB, with kids from 75 different countries. So it was a fantastic experience. And then from there, I went to LSE, London School of Economics, and did management. And then, as you then said, I worked at I did an internship actually at Citibank, and then I worked at Accenture. And then of course I started acting in films. And the standard question is, how come? How did you go from the corporate kind of world to this? And the truth is that I think my father, Pratap Sharma, was a playwright and author. He was very well known for his voice. He was known as the golden voice of India. My mother is English. She's very artistic. She writes, she paints. So I think honestly, the creativity entertainment thing was in my blood, I guess, and I always wanted to perform. And throughout my school and college, I was always doing little things like a little ad here and there, or a play, or something to keep me in touch with that side too. And I think eventually that side got bigger than the other side. So once I had the education and the work experience, I think I literally had this moment. I remember sitting in Accenture. I was working in London at Accenture, and I remember thinking that, if I don't dance around trees now, I'm never going to do it. And, if I don't do it at this age, I'm not going to do it when I'm like 75. So I don't want to have regrets. And very grateful again to my family, my parents, for supporting. And actually also Accenture, I have to say, as a corporate, for all of you, at HSBC, I'm not encouraging all of you to go dance around trees, but I'm just
We
saying I
can't.
was grateful that the mentors I had there and my bosses, they actually gave me a 6-month sabbatical to kind of figure it out. And so then I took this path and entertainment, and now 15 films, and some okay, some flopped, some that did well later. I think what really ended up being a great, for me, finally a culmination and combination of my entertainment and business has perhaps been creating my show that I produce and co-produce with my husband's company, Bang Bang. And so I think this has become like the culmination. When people say, LSC and Accenture and now acting, I say, no. Creating and producing a show is very different to acting. Of course, that
Acting.
is a huge thing, and huge credit to everyone who does it. But I think for me, combining the business and the entertainment has been what I really enjoy.
Perfect. And I see that no resistance you got when you transitioned, right?
I don't, because my parents are creative and my dad tragically has passed away, but because they were in this arty space, they were always encouraging. My father always said, "Follow your passion, and money will follow." The joke is, I'm still waiting for the money to follow, as you as bankers know. But I definitely followed my passion, and I do kind of see what my dad was saying, that you can make it work. And having said that, my parents were very clear that they wanted me to finish my at least my sort of graduation and work. And so I think if I had made this decision at 16 or 17, they probably would not have supported it in this way. And I think my personality was such that I also knew that I wanted to have that education. Until today, when people ask me, and I'm no big success, I'm very much a work in progress. I still feel every day where I'm trying to, figure things out. But if I ever gave advice to anyone younger, I would say, do your education, get that behind you, because it really, more than anything, gives you the confidence, I think, to do different things.
Absolutely well said, and so good to have such supportive parents, right?
Yes.
Tara, and I think in one of your shows, I think with Salman Khan, you spoke about how you got your first modeling assignment. You'd like to share some of that with our viewers?
So actually, I'm wearing what I wore on my episode with Salman Khan. I'm not looking as glamorous because I don't have my makeup and hairdresser and all the people around us, because we're all in lockdown, of course. But actually, like I said, because my parents were from a creative world and my dad did a lot of work in advertising with his voice, I was exposed to it quite young. So I actually did my first commercial when I was about 12.
Wow.
But I never thought of myself as a model, and no one did. It was more like girl next door. Oh, why don't you do this ad for Amulya? I don't know if you ever remember it. Kailash was the director, Kailash
Yes.
Surendranath, and the Amulya, and I tapped the card. And then after that, I did do some ads that, in hindsight, if it was today, everything would be on social media and I'd be like tweeting it and sharing it and all. But at that time, I did do a Pepsi ad with Shah Rukh Khan. I did do Garnier Light. I did do Fair and Lovely. But you know what? I would go straight back to college and get back into my books. And also, I never really got into that whole, oh my God, I'm on the screen, or, people, you know what I'm saying? So, in a weird
Yes.
way, it kind of, everyone, again, each to their own. And my biggest philosophy in life is never judge. Everyone has their own path. But I'm grateful in a way for that, because I feel it kept me very grounded. And those were my
True.
holiday kind of amazing, brushes with glamour, but they were not my bread and butter, at least till I decided that I could practically go into entertainment. The reason I say that is because I was very clear that if I'm giving up a job like Accenture, which is paying me a certain amount, I'm not expecting an equivalent if I go to act right away. But I was always very clear, and even till today, I'm only going to do something if it also makes business sense. So passion is very much one thing, but I think what the LSE and corporate side gave me is that, I'm not going to pursue this unless I'm also going to be earning from it. So I think even quite young, I would compare that, okay, if I was getting this much at Accenture, then if I'm going to do this ad, or if I'm going to do this movie, I can't expect, purchasing power parity or whatever. I've forgotten all the words also, but it has to at least somewhere equate.
Makes sense. Yeah. Makes sense. Right. And what a journey since then, right? They went on to do some fabulous role in Page 3, Masti, I think Khosla Ka Ghosla, if I remember a few of them. What a journey since then, right?
Thank you.
But Tara, I think today's world, a lot of us are facing a lot of trying times, a lot of difficult emotional phase in our life, and I'm sure you too are.
Yeah.
How have you and your family been, managing this lockdown?
So, firstly, I hope everyone's okay. I hope you're all safe. Everyone who's watching, I hope you're all at home and you're safe and you're positive. I think I've learned, as all of us have perhaps, that human beings are tremendously adaptable and resilient. I think this is now the end of our 12th week of lockdown. Children's school, I always use that as my benchmark, but we stopped school on, I think, the 14th of March. So, yeah, pretty much 12 weeks. And personally, I have found as a person, I'm quite an optimist. I tend to look at the glass half full. I tend to try and have a positive outlook without being impractical. So I know the world is going through a huge crisis. COVID, Corona is a global pandemic. It is extremely worrying. So while being aware of the research and the realities, I also have a tendency to say things are going to be fine. We're going to be fine, touch wood, and we have to make the most of what we're doing, and within the rules, within the lockdown, stay as positive as possible. So I have found personally yoga helps me a lot. So I've started teaching twice a week on Tuesday and Thursday. I also learn from my teacher, Sir Pradeep Pandey, and I found routine has helped a lot. So I find the children's schooling has been extremely helpful. If you guys have kids, you probably relate to this, but I feel the structure that online school has provided has helped us as a family. My husband and me are both in entertainment, so he has a media company. And I have to say that although, of course, things are very much scaled down, very, very, very much scaled down, we are both able to do considerable amount of work from home because a lot of our work is digital, and that means that we are quite occupied mentally. So I would say it's been quite a busy time, and whenever there are moments when one feels, oh my god, what's going on, I really tend to either spend time with the kids and feel a lot of love and a lot of which I'm sure all you parents out there feel,
Anxiety.
anxiety, and like the fights have been also quite incredible.
True,
I
true,
think there's
true.
been a lot of learning as a family. The bonding is incredible because a lot more time with my husband, who's usually would have been at work for most of the day. So all those the positives are, in fact, just today when the kids were saying, oh my god, it's now holidays are on and more free time or more time at home, I was like, let's play the glad game. What are all the things that we're grateful for? And of course, the kids are 8 and 10, so they don't want to constantly hear this type of stuff. But when you do that, you do realize that we have so much to be grateful for. It is so tragic how many people are suffering so badly, and anything we can do to help without being a martyr is so important. But I think it's equally important to also be honest about your own feelings. If you're not having a great day, it's okay to say that. If you're feeling not so good, it's okay to say that. I think communication is always so important. Personally, as I said, routine and structure and exercise have helped me. And I think everybody has their own way. But children are amazingly resilient. I find that they just get on with it. They live each moment, and they tend not to complain as much as I had thought they might. So that to me has been a great learning.
Right. So, kids are going through a trying time. You said that, right? You have to keep them busy. And you've shared with us some tips on how you can talk to them and how you can keep them engaged. But how do you think, and they're resilient, you're true. I mean, far more than what we imagined they would be at the beginning of the lockdown, right?
Yeah.
But how do you keep them busy? You have two boys. What do you do with them apart from schooling? I mean, now schooling, I think schools
Holiday.
are going to start. Yeah, they're going to be holidays now. So how do you plan to keep them busy in their holidays?
So actually, our holidays started. It's been a week of holiday. I can't believe it's already Friday. So um, we kind of, Rupak, my husband, and me, we decided that we'll continue to have some kind of structure because it suits us as a family. So we actually have scheduled time with each grandparent.
Wow.
So we're very lucky that my mother actually lives in the same building as us. and she was away on our farm for a while. So she came back after 3 months. So we laughed and said, we're not going anywhere for the holidays, but Gaga Land is coming to us. They call her Gaga. So that's a tremendous help because she's in the building, so they can spend a little time with her. We are very lucky to have a small open space where the kids are able to play and do some exercise, as are we a little bit. And yeah, so my in-laws, my husband's parents, Dadu and Dadi, one is doing Indian history twice a week, and one is doing teaching bridge, actually, my mother-in-law. So
Wow.
they're doing sort of online-ish classes. And then, the friends, they do all these Zoom calls and Zoom classes. So that's all happening. As parents, I think many of us are concerned about screen time. So, of course, I have had to let certain rules slip and not be as obsessed about not letting them spend too long on the computer. I have to say, for any parents out there who are watching, I was very intrigued and I want to research this more. But when there was a conversation with the school, the head of the junior school in our children's school, and people were voicing this about screen time, she made a very interesting statement, which I will research, about how it's actually passive viewing that is more worrisome. So, passive viewing as opposed to interactive, active viewing. So, I think when they're learning or when they're on Zoom or when they're engaged and they're learning something, it's actually not as sort of stressful screen time. So, that made me a little reassured because there's certainly a lot of screen time. But then, yeah, some sport, some just chatting, reading, and music. They're both playing some instrument.
Online music classes as well, right? So I think some great tips you shared. I mean, I never thought about how grandparents could play such a big role in keeping the kids engaged, actually. And I think I'll surely take those tips back, and I'm sure some of our viewers will as well.
Yeah, it's very sweet. You can hear we don't get involved, but you can overhear them saying, "No, Dadi, you have to press this, don't press that." So it's kind of like great that they're also learning and having that time with the grandchildren. Yeah.
So true. Thanks, Sarah. Thanks for sharing those thoughts. I think there are some great thoughts there. Dads, I think a lot of dads are working from home, right? And I'm sure they're getting to spend a lot more time with their kids, sometimes not knowing how to handle that. So any SOS calls you get from dads saying that, please advise, what can I do with my kid?
I think probably my husband gets those calls from the dads, but I think Rupak, my husband, is definitely enjoying, I would say, that side of it, where he's getting a lot more. We laugh and we say this is the most time we've ever spent with our kids, actually, because school and classes and all and work. So I think he's quite enjoying that. And in our house, one is more of the disciplinarian. So Rupak is a little bit more of the tougher one in terms of they listen to him more. I think it's always a bit like that, the novelty of the mom, and, so, I have a show that began as my diary as a new mom. And 10 years ago, I started the Tara Sharma show as my diary to show that, each to their own, no judgments. I'm no expert. We all do things which may be okay, may not be right, may be right. But let me tell you a secret. I am absolutely no super mom. I'm no super parent. So very kindly, when your invite said super parent, I was like, actually, my children will vouch for the fact that I'm not. But the wonderful thing is no one is, and yet everyone is. I think everyone is the best parent to their own kids. And I don't think any of us have any formula for being perfect in any sense, but you do what you can do within your means. So a lot of my friends who are very good at cooking or craft or baking, and they're doing those kind of things with their kids. I'm trying, but I made a YouTube video trying to bake a cake with the kids, and YouTube said, maybe use this globally because it is so bad. So I think, you do what you can. And I think having a laugh is also something that has helped me a lot. I feel, I think just making light of moments, even if things are tough, it helps.
So true, Tara. I mean, I think you kind of just put it so well. And whatever you said, so much, I think all of us can relate to. And one thing for the super moms there, right? I mean, all of them are struggling with home, office work, maybe some of them, children at home, spouses at home. So one thing for them, one message for them.
I think India, it's such a diverse country with so many different types of people, so many different stratas of society, and it is very difficult to generalize. We always feel we're speaking to our sort of, I don't want to use that kind of word, but I'm sitting here talking to you, and right outside is the beautiful sea. By the way, it's World Environment Day today. I want to say something about
Exactly.
that later, but I also am looking out onto, slums, and every
True.
time I feel even remotely like it's a tough time, I look out and I feel like we have no right to say that, because there are so many people who do not have a home to stay safe in. So I think when it comes, but again, like I said, it's okay to also acknowledge what you feel, because everyone has their own situation. So I think I say that in the context of India, because I think in other parts of the world, you don't necessarily see these contrasts so much.
So
So
much.
you are
Very true.
able sometimes to dwell on your own issues. I feel a little bit more. Sometimes I actually think that here, the minute you dwell, you look out and you feel like, acha, this is nothing compared to, So,
Right.
but yet within our own context, I would say it is really a time of, sharing the load. I feel dads are stepping in, they're stepping up. Rupak is helping the kids with schoolwork. He's always been good with that kind of stuff, but I think, everyone is pitching in to help. If you have help at home, we personally are very lucky to have one help, but she's quite old, so we really make sure that she gets, a day or two
Rest.
completely off, because I think it's really important, of course, for that as well. Personally, I've never been very domestic when it comes to cooking and stuff, but Corona has got me in the kitchen. And so I think, everyone's doing things perhaps that they didn't do. I think there are lots of things that we're learning from this time. And perhaps when things go back to so called normal, I really do think it'll be a time where a lot of us will probably pick the parts of normal that we want to go back to. I certainly do not want to be stuck in a car for 4 hours a day as maybe we used to be. I do want to, I do think, as cliched as it sounds, it is like the universe or the earth is giving us all a message to kind of reflect and look after earth better. And today being World Environment Day, I feel extremely passionate about saving our coast. I'm very upset about this coastal road that is being built. Not because I'm not at all anti-development. Everyone would love to get somewhere faster, but I truly wish it could be on stilts or a sea link. I've been researching it a lot, listening a lot. I'm very non-controversial by nature, but it has bothered me because I just don't get why 75 acres is being reclaimed when 20 is needed for a road. I can't help but feel it's going to be used for buildings and constructions. And we've just witnessed a huge cyclone. Climate change is real. When people say, "Oh, but Tara, all of Mumbai, Bombay is on reclaimed land," I'm like, yes, but that was before cyclones and pandemics like this. Of course, these cyclones and pandemics happen, but the reality is the frequency is way more now, and we really need to be careful and look after our earth. So I still pray that our respected leaders stop this and they divert the 15,000 crores instead to COVID relief, or they just make it on stilts. So all these things bother me, and I just feel like we need to look after earth better. And I think these are the learnings perhaps that we'll have after COVID. But who knows, human nature
Yes.
also is strange. It might just flip back, but I hope we'll learn a lot of things.
But I think it's an alarm, right? That the nature is giving us through all these kind of it's a message that it's giving us, right? I think all of us have our own bit to do for the environment, and I think for the generations to come more than anything else.
Absolutely. I think the children get it, because the children are witnessing something that they've had nothing to do with. So, whenever
They have
people
open minds.
teach children to look after the earth, I'm like, they know that. It's actually adults who need to learn that,
I think we're so used to our own ways. The children are always ready to explore new things, right?
Yes.
And that, I think you spoke about yoga, right? You were a big advocate of yoga and a big believer of its benefits, right? Some breathing techniques for our viewers today. I know we can't do a full show, but
I would be happy to do some yoga, but then it would mean shifting everything and moving
some breathing exercises.
I think let's do that at the end. We can do like some nice chanting and stuff to end, so that people can end on a calm note.
So we've got a lot of questions already. I think viewers, you can continue posting them, and I will try and post them to Tara toward the end of the show.
Okay.
But Tara, one more question. I think you spoke about your talk show and how you kind of created that talk show. Something you would like to share us? What inspired you to do that?
So actually, when I was pregnant about now 11 years ago, honestly, I stopped getting much acting work, and I'm very honest about the fact that I'm not some big superstar. I'm not, I'm not some huge star. So I think it happens to most women in the industry, unless you're like a super duper star, that once you're married and pregnant, the offers dry up. So it was around that time that I was kind of racking my brains to think of what should I do, what could I do. And my dad actually, he always said to me, don't sit and wait for the phone to ring with an offer. If you want to do something, create it.
Yeah.
And that was very, very inspirational to me, because I was like, with all this background of education and all I have, I should just create my own thing. And I thought, what am I most passionate about? It is my family and bringing up our children. So I thought, why don't I do a show about that? The adventures of bringing up babies and kids, and non-patronizing, just a diary format. So my husband, who has a media company, Bang Bang and the 120 Media Collective, he said, look, I don't know how to do a show, but you figure it out, and if you figure it out, then we'll co-produce it. So I literally went, I had been approached by Mattel for something, for some review or something. So I went on my own for a meeting and I said, look, I have this idea. Suddenly I was in like a boardroom, like back at Accenture with the CEO
Wow.
of Mattel and all, and just me. And they were like, look, we love the idea, we'll sponsor it. So it was incredible, because I was back in my corporate world with my entertainment, and suddenly they were sponsoring my show. And I had the Tara Sharma show, which incidentally the first two seasons I did in Hindi. It was on Imagine and Pogo. And then now we are in season 5. We just finished season 5. So every season it's an advertiser funded program. So every season I bring in the sponsors and do the business side of it, the channel deals and all. And it's been on Star World now for the last 3 seasons. It's now a platform where we discuss in topical family, parenting, women's and children's issues, with a view to bringing about positive change. And we have celebrity and non-celebrity guests. So I don't know how, but we've managed to have Virat and Amir and John and Kalki, and we have different topics like children and sport, or children with special needs, or health and fitness, or saving the earth. So different topics, and then our guest is connected to that topic. So I
I
love
have watched a few of them, and I can tell you that they've been brilliant. I watched Virat Kohli one yesterday, and I think it was very good. I mean, the way he spoke, the way he brought about the importance of sport, and you being focused rather than looking for support to your parents all the time. I think very
Thank
nicely brought out, and brilliant shows. I'm sure our audiences would love to watch them.
Thank you. Been wonderful doing it. And I'm looking forward to season 6 in lockdown. I keep thinking, when will I shoot again? Of course, it might be an online show like this for a while, but
Yeah,
already thinking.
great. So we'll go on to some audience questions, Tara, but some rapid fire.
Sure.
Up to it. Favorite family food?
Favorite family food? Okay, dal, bindi, sabzi, roti, that kind of thing. And
Not
also
as much.
on the English side, things like,
Okay,
yeah.
favorite family movie?
Favorite family movie? Oh my God. I'm going to be so biased and say Khusla Ka Ghusla.
It's amazing. Most listened to song at home?
Right now, it's something called Pineapple Pen.
Okay, your favorite pose in yoga?
My favorite pose in yoga?
Or asana?
Okay, my favorite asana, I'm standing and this.
Wow.
I'm standing.
Awesome. Your favorite role? One of the roles you played?
Cliched as it sounds, I've really enjoyed all, but I think probably Khosla Ka Ghosla, Masti also, and maybe PhD also, yeah. So the films
Wow.
that really I liked.
And the person you love to interview the most?
Again, I've really loved to interview all of them. And I genuinely mean that, because something happens when I'm interviewing people. I don't know if you feel this, you're interviewing me, but I just feel this deep connect. And with me,
True.
most of them I've never met before. I've never met Bumrah, I've never met Rohit Sharma, I've never met so many of them. But after it, I feel like we're good friends. So.
And who would you like to interview in the future?
Achha, next on my list is Shah Rukh Khan. So.
Wow. Okay, we're looking forward to it. And where would you like to go first after the lockdown ends?
First, after lockdown ends, I think something really simple like the club we go to with some friends and the kids'
Wow.
friends, and something small and simple where we can all meet. And honestly, to England to visit my sister and my nephew and niece and my cousins.
That was terrific, Tara. I mean, yes, was not as rapid as it should be, but
Sorry,
I think you were a great sport.
no, I'm not a
Uh,
very good rapid fire person. I admit.
I think one thing I wanted to ask you personally is that I've seen a lot of your pictures with your family, your kids, and the bond that you share with them. Do you want to tell us about something about it? I mean, something very emotional, very personal that you'd like to share
I
about your
think
bond with your kids.
every family, every relationship is unique, and everyone is the best parent and the best kids to their own parents and kids. I'm a really, really firm believer in each to their own. So I think it was Gwyneth Paltrow actually who said that, never judge anyone because everyone's situation is different. So I am, to me, my children and our family is the, best in the universe to me, as I'm sure yours are to you. And that's why I find even on social media, when people post things like best mother in the universe and all that, I tend to say best mother to me in the universe, because I feel like these are special bonds which are unique to each person. And I think everyone is doing the best they can do. And of course, I adore our kids more than anything, but I also know I make a lot of mistakes. And I think that's life. We just get through. And then I'm so grateful for the bond I share with my parents. So I think whatever fights we have now, later, they'll also say, wow, what a lovely bond we have. So I think,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So now we have some questions from our audiences.
Okay.
The first one I'd like to take is from Manu Sharma. How was how as working parents do you ensure that kids don't feel neglected when the work hours stretch beyond normal?
So I think I am very much guilty of being someone who's very absorbed with my work. So I initially started the show as a way to be with the children and work. I wanted to find a way to be with the kids and work. So I thought, what's better than doing a show about kids? But that does not mean that I'm actually always with them, even when I'm physically with them, because very often I'm very much in my mind busy. So I think that firstly, don't be hard on yourself. Everyone's situation is different. In the show, we've had many panel discussions, which we used to call Tara's parenting powwows, where we've had different points of view. So we've had like a full-time corporate mom, a full-time stay-home mom, a work-from-home mompreneur, discussing their situations, and everyone's way is right for them. So I think don't feel guilty. What your kids see and what if it's cliche, but a happy parent means happy kids. So I think if you feel that it's becoming too much and you're really neglecting, then of course, maybe speak to the people you work with, or maybe try and find a way to work from home a bit so that you're with them more, maybe work a bit more when they go to bed, or find a way to balance it. But more often than not, I think kids understand. They know that your intention is there, that you love them more than anything, and that work is something that helps you guys have a good life because of the income it gives. I find myself saying that to the kids sometimes. I'm like, I know I'm on a
Wonderful.
conference call and I know I'm busy, but I'm helping because it's going to help our family. And yeah.
Wow. Wonderful. Wonderful thoughts, Sarah. There's one question from Savio Fernandez. He asks, would you agree children should be introduced to wellness and well-being at an early age?
Absolutely. I really think it is intrinsic. And, as I have witnessed my parents wake up every day from when I was little and look at nature for while they had their tea or coffee and then do some exercise. I think I remember this, but it's weird because from school I've been running every morning, including on my honeymoon, which Rupak wasn't very amused by, but a little bit. For me, it's always been about consistency over quantity. So doing a little bit of exercise, but every day, or doing, everything consistently has been something I follow, moderation and balance. So yeah, I think letting kids see like a little bit of exercise every day. And I have to say, what has surprised me in lockdown, we have a small garden space, and I thought the kids would be running to it all the time, but it surprised me that they are not. They are still doing it as per their evening 6 to 7. And frankly, sometimes I'm the one who has to say, come on, it's exercise time. And they sometimes almost say, Mama, because you're telling us, we won't go. So I think one has to be careful not to push it onto kids, But if they see you do it, more often than not, they follow. Somewhere as parents, we are their first, I guess, role models or examples. So I think
True.
we do tend to do what they see, even if they don't
Amazing.
admit it to you.
So true that I think one question I think is very interesting. Tushar Toprani is asking this one. Do you like films more or theater and why?
So my dad was a playwright and he wrote some fantastic plays, Begum Samru, Sammy about Gandhiji. In the 60s, he wrote A Touch of Brightness, which was selected for the Edinburgh Festival. And then because of censorship, it was set in the red light district. It actually got, it was stopped, and then it's now been performed all over the world. In fact, Salam Bombay is, I think, loosely based on some things from the play. But the thing is that theater is a lot more work. I played Juliet in Romeo and Juliet at the Birmingham Old Rep when I was in just after LSE, and it was a lot of work. It was a lot of work. I loved it. I loved the real time feeling of it, but it was exhausting. And as I said, I'm also a business person. So for me, it was very clear that theater did not have the kind of money that film had, and very lazily, it was also a lot more work, being very honest. So
True.
while I loved acting and I love acting on stage, I love speaking live, I also frankly gravitated towards what would also pay me better. And I won't say be a little less work, but yeah.
Some honest, wise words there from you, Tara. Okay, I think Monish Mehta wants to know if not for acting, what other field would it be? I think I don't want to answer that, but Tara, would you like
So
to
I
take
think if
that?
you heard the start of my journey, you would see
Exactly.
that I was very much a corporate kind of person. I think as a kid, I would dream about like wearing a suit and going to work. And, so when I was working at Accenture in London, the look was really what I was dreaming of. But then I realized I was dreaming of that look as if I was an actress in a film doing that look. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
I think I would have,
absolutely.
yeah, maybe, but now, if I really think about it, I think one thing I could have possibly done, maybe I'll still look at, is law. So I'm
No.
so concerned about things like the coastal road and all that I find myself checking out clauses. And I did corporate law a little bit at LSE and I find it very interesting. Again, it's a lot of work. So hats off to everyone, all of you, banking, all of you doing so much stuff that's like such hard work. Sometimes I feel I kind of like also try to find a way to not work so hard. I work very hard, but numbers and all didn't come as naturally to me. I might have got like 99 in my maths ICSE, but as I said, I don't think I'm naturally that smart. It's more the hard work. So yeah.
You're very modest and
No,
very down to
I'm
earth,
not. I'm
Tara.
not. Trust me. My husband is super smart and he went, I don't know if he's listening, but he is. And he got much less in the ICSE. So it makes me realize that grades are not necessarily reflective of your intellect. Having said that, I
Absolutely.
don't say that to the kids because they have to get the grades. But yeah.
True. Those are advices for us at this age, I guess.
Yeah. I must take that back. I rephrase that. As long as they do as well as they can do, I think that's what's important.
True. I guess it's how you tell them that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I think you spoke about Khosla Ka Ghosla. There's one question which says, how was your experience starring in that movie? And it is one of Subrajyoti Paul's favorite offering from Dipankar Banerjee, right? Yeah,
Oh,
Dipankar
I
Banerjee.
I loved that movie. I think it's still one of the most viewed, perhaps movies.
Absolutely.
Yesterday, someone sent a tweet to us saying, "My favorite movie. I've watched it 40 times. It's on TV today." So I genuinely think, and the funny thing is, I think it was a path-breaking film because it was the first small budget, no superstar film. Of course, Anupam ji and Baman and all, but it was actually Baman Irani's first film before Munna Bhai. So it was actually before it didn't have like a huge star cast. If I'm truly honest, I didn't really fully understand even the script when I first read it. I couldn't visualize it. I didn't know that we were onto something. But because it was made with so much passion and it felt so right. But then because it's a small budget film and there were a lot of financial issues that the producers faced, it did not release for 3 years. So for 3 years, it was in the shelf. And what a lot of people don't know about filmmaking is that content is king, distribution is God, as my husband often says, quoting somebody, I don't know who, but the fact is that you can make a great film, but if you don't have good distribution and marketing and finance to back it, uh, it can go unseen. So for 3 years, frankly, Dibakar, Jaideep, who co-wrote it with him, all of them were really low about it. I would keep phoning because it was one of my first films. When is it coming? When is it coming? No news. And finally, UTV at the time took it and they pumped in, I believe, almost an equal amount as it cost to promote it, which is why it also got the boost it needed. And I think it became one of the first small budget films to really commercially be viable. After that, of course, we've seen several, and script is king and all that. But those lessons taught me very early that if I create my own content, I must have my sponsors, my channels, my brands. So that's why when I make my show, I'm very clear. I have to touch a certain target through sponsorships before I go on air, because it has to make money. And it's
Great
not
learning,
money
right, for you.
much, but finally it's on a path where it's also a business, I guess.
But awesome movie, Tara. I mean, it's one of my favorites for sure, and I'm sure a lot of viewers today just love that movie.
But huge
One
hats off to the director and Dibakar, Jaideep, Anupamji, everyone. I mean, I was just honestly, I keep saying I'm only little in it, but whatever it was thanks to all of them.
But what a topic, and how he please presented that. I mean, brilliant.
Yeah.
I think one last question we'll take is from Pooja Mishra. If you would change or redo one thing that, as a parent, what would it be and why? Wow.
There are many things. I, like everybody, I have very many moments of guilt, very many moments of, oh shoot, did I do this wrong? Was I too strict? So I think we all have many moments like that. And I think one thing I would try is little not to get angry so much. People think of me as a very calm person, and friends of mine also can't believe that I shout and scream. But my husband always says they only have to come into the house or be a fly on the wall to see the true you. So not that I'm hiding it, but that comes out, So
I'm laughing because I can totally relate to what you're saying.
yeah, I think most of us can relate. I've written many blogs about this monster in me. It comes out, and then you feel so guilty that at night you say, I love you guys more than anything. I'm sorry I did this. I'm sorry. But you know what? It's okay. So maybe I would tone down the anger a bit. And I tell myself, I do yoga. Oh my God, I'm getting angry. I better go and do 5 Surya Namaskars and come back and I'll be calm. But it doesn't always work. But yeah. So
I don't even have Surya
tone down the
Namaskars to fall
anger.
back on. So I am the same. I guess all of us are. I think parents, once you're a parent, you're always a parent. Even now, your mother is your mother and she is a parent to you, right? So parenting is not a full stop. It's a journey as we go along. I think we're pretty much at the hour. I think, Tara, thank you so much. Just one last question. Maybe you want to do that chanting or whatever you wanted to do for our viewers, which will help keep them calm during this time.
Okay, so this is where I conduct my yoga classes over here. We can together maybe just do one Surya Namaskar, and then we'll just do some chanting, some and chanting. Let's actually first do a Tadasana to start with. If you guys, you can stand or wherever you are, even without a mat. Let's just stand on our tippy toes. If you can also, wherever you are, all of you can just stand up.
Yeah, I'll leave it to the others to do. Tara, for all reasons you know.
Stretch. And stretch on the side. So I do Yoga with Tara Tuesday and Thursday at 10 a.m. on YouTube, Facebook and Instagram. So let's just do a Surya Namaskar. And this is that show off pose I was telling you.
Wow.
That, and I'm not a professional teacher, but I've been learning from my teacher for about 20 years. So let's do one Surya Namaskar. So I'll do it here. Namaste Mudra. Breathe in, breathe out, touch your tone. Breathe in, breathe out. Hold your breath, bums up, chin and chest on the floor. Breathe in, breathe out. Left leg in front. Breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. Second part of the first Surya Namaskar, because you have to balance it out. Now, of course, my classes that I do go on for about an hour, but now we'll just do simple
I'm going to.
Kapalabhati, where you exhale through your nose, forceful exhalation, and you can feel your abdomen go in and out. So let's close our eyes and feel very peaceful, positive. I started doing this just to feel positive and to help anyone feel positive. So let's just do that 30 times. Forced exhalation through your nostrils. Now let your breath come back to normal. And now very, very gently take a deep breath in. And when you exhale, just say a loud ah. Loud ah when you breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe in, and now when you breathe out, a loud O on your exhalation. And now for the last one, you breathe in deeply, and when you breathe out, you keep your lips together and humming, and you hum. So you breathe in. Now gently rub your palms together, and before Corona, we would place our warm palms on our eyelids, but now just place them on your thighs. Bend down if you want. Thank you.
That was brilliant, Tara. That was really brilliant. I think viewers want to see more of that, and they can surely visit your YouTube channel to see that
Please,
again and again and practice.
and please watch the Tara Sharma show. And thank you. It was really a pleasure. I'm used to asking the questions, so it was nice to be asked questions.
And I lived my childhood dream, right, Tara, of interviewing a star.
I'm no star. Believe me, I'm no star. The closest I am to a star is my name is Tara. Other than that,
that's a good one. And great talking to you. Sets the tone for an absolutely happy and calm weekend. Thank you very much for being with us. Audience, thank you very much for joining us. And do tune in to the next episode of Starstruck. Till then, goodbye and stay safe. Thank you.
Bye.